guys, Jay. Welcome to the channel. Um, this one's going to be a little bit off the cuff, and I got to be a little quiet because it's like it's 2 a.m. in the morning. Um, but I had to put my thoughts down because I just finished watching We Want More Thundercats interview with Brian Flynn, and a masterful interview, by the way. If you guys haven't already, definitely head over to We Want More Thundercats. Give him a like and a follow, and of course, subscribe to his channel. He's amazing, and his whole channel is about Thundercats, and he deserves way more attention than he gets. He's a wonderful friend of the channel, and I want to thank him hugely, and of course, thanking Brian Flynn as well. For taking the time out of his day and having an interview with We Want More Thundercats. Throughout the review, they talk about the latest wave of Thundercats that is on pre-order right now. Cruncher, Nada, and of course Safari Joe. They also talk about the DX series and a whole other bunch of reaction and other upcoming waves and future considerations for like San Diego Comic-Con and all those kinds of things. But the one topic I was hoping that they would talk about, of course, was the cat's lair, and the handling of the shipping and everything that's been happening and surrounding it. And as I expected, pretty much as I expected, Brian was very eloquent in the way he handled the situation, which was again absolutely the correct way of doing it. He covered pretty much all the topics and the questions that everyone's been having lately, and it's great to finally hear something from someone who can really give us answers. A lot of people who have had the issues with the boxes and the shipping itself, they're getting copy and paste emails, which is not wrong. Okay, let me make that clear. It's not wrong for a copy and paste email when they're trying to deal with these types of logistics. I've said it in multiple, live streams and discussions that I've had with, Thundercats classics and other my own live streams and such. Logistics is a completely different beast. It's hard. Danny Green, my good friend, he's in logistics, and you can easily ask him. It's not a walk in the park. It's very, very difficult. But getting back to the interview with Amon, so it started out much as it would, pretty much very excited, talking about the new waves and everything that's happening right now with Super 7. And when it got to the topic of the cats there, of course it got a little bit, tense. I mean, that it's going to happen. It's not an easy thing to talk about. But he did come straight to the point and explain his position. So the first thing he sort of mentioned was that the cat's lair is, of course, a gigantic issue in terms of just shipping, specifically centering around the Thunder Tank. He highlighted the fact of the Thunder Tank and the fact that the foam core, the foam pieces that were surrounding the Thunder Tank in many pictures would not be possible, and I don't disagree with him actually. I don't think that would have been possible at all. As a matter of fact, I don't think it would have been safe for the cat's lair to be shipped in that manner. It's just too big. It's just too heavy. And he says that it would have added an incredible amount of cost, considering the fact that it probably would have added another inch or maybe even 2 inches to the packaging material. And you know what? I don't disagree with that. What I question, though, on that line is we didn't need foam pieces around Snake Mountain. We could have just had two shipping boxes. Because if you watch my video about unboxing Snake Mountain, you will see that there are actually 2 shipping boxes, and the outer box is actually made of a very, very thick corrugated cardboard. That wasn't addressed. Now, I'm not sure he was avoiding that. I don't think so. I think that, addressing it with the idea of the foam padding was more than adequate. I understand where he's coming from, but I wanted to bring that up again because I think that the extra box, the second box that I'm talking about, the second shipping box, because there were two shipping boxes for Snake Mountain, would have made a difference, would have made a vast difference. The most significant portions of the interview were when Brian offered, the solutions to what's actually happening. So one thing that really stuck in my mind was when he said that if it has anything to do with plastic, that's not even an issue.
The first is anybody that's got a plastic problem, no problem. We're going to replace it. We always replace it. If you have a problem with a broken figure, we replace it. Anytime we make anything, we will replace it. The plastic is fine.
That is incredible. That is incredible. Not only is that an incredible gesture, that is an incredible guarantee. Holy crap. I'm not even joking about how significant that is. And it leads me to believe that they have made and did realize, that there was a significant chance that at least a few number of these would definitely get damaged. He also made it clear that if there's any problems with plastic, any problems with any of the guns, any problems with any of the accessories that are missing, any problems with the actual cat's lair itself, especially in the case, and he really highlighted this, which I thought was excellent. He highlighted the fact that one unfortunate, fan, his cat's lair was completely broken, on the shelf, right, and that will be replaced. Brian said that, and pretty much give us a guarantee that no matter what, if it has something to do with plastic, that's actually the easiest part. And I appreciate that. Then it came down to the actual box situation. And this is where things, unfortunately, got interesting on one hand, but at the same time, we have to sort of work on this. And I totally get that. I totally understand where that's coming. I totally understand where Brian is coming. And being a graphic designer myself, understanding how printing works and the logistics around this, I mentioned it many times, including to JP, over at Thundercats Classics, Jorge, so many others who have been asking the question. I just basically have pretty much come to the conclusion and accepted the fact that if your box is damaged, I'm not sure they're going to be able to help you. Consider this. We're already having issues with the boxes right now with stuff inside of it, right? They're coming damaged. There are big gaping holes inside of on the side of them. Imagine there's nothing in it, and it's just that much easier to toss around, right? And even with a double box at that point, it just increases the availability or the possibility that damage is going to occur because there's literally nothing inside of it. If you think about when something is weighted, you know what I mean? When there's volume inside of it, people tend to have a harder time jostling it around. People have a harder time tossing it around. Whereas if there's nothing in it, the tendency is people are just going to literally throw it around as if there's nothing in it because there is nothing in it. So the possibility of getting even more damage on that level is quite high. So that, in terms of getting you a new box, that's out. Now, let's consider the idea that you want an unfolded box, right? Something that hasn't been glued together, something that can be folded in a certain way. That presents its own problems. I mean, if you think about how big a box is and how easy it is to stack, now consider, how do you fold up a box? Put it in some sort of container. It would also be, the way we normally do it is a portfolio of such made of other boxes. Tape that up and then send that on its merry way. Well, Brian's right. The possibility of it getting folded during shipping is even worse. And not only that, that type of specialized shipping costs a lot of money. So it's hard to expect a company to go out of their way to get that done. But, and this is something I have to commend 100%, Brian did say that they're going to figure it out. They're going to try and make everybody happy. They're going to try and satisfy the fans.
That's not to say we're not going to solve it. I want you to you bought one and you want a nice box. All right, we're going to figure out how we solve it. The first thing we got to do is figure out how big the problem is, because we've still got another week or two of shipping these things out. We'll sort it out. We'll get it straight. We're not trying to screw you over, but we also need to quantify how many we need to solve.
Which is what I was hoping to hear and what I was expecting from the same company who packaged and delivered my Snake Mountain, who packaged and delivered the Thunder Tank, and now is in the process of delivering these these Thundercats, Cats Lairs, and unfortunately has run into this, I guess, unfortunate situation. Do I think that a double box would have helped? Absolutely. I do think that. Do I know for a fact that they decided to cheap out and not include that box? No. I have no idea. I don't understand what's going on at Super 7. I am not really privy to any sort of information over there. And I'm just, a dude I'm a talking head on YouTube. And my opinions don't really mean much, right? They're just here, and I'm just voicing my opinions because, again, I'm a fan. I want this thing. I want it to arrive in the best shape possible. So I get frustrated when I see other fans suffering, and really, it breaks my heart. But I'm given more faith, and it really gives me a sense of, a trust back in to the Super 7 brand when their spokesperson, Brian Flynn, president, whatever you want to call him, comes onto the screen and basically says those words that he's going to make it right. That is an amazing gesture, and I do have to applaud Brian Flynn for that. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you, Brian. I hope that everything does work out in the end. How that's going to get done, I don't know. As I said, if it's just like, going back to the actual numbers, Brian is saying that it's less than, I think he said it was less than 4%, less than 5%, possibly even just 3% of the actual reports that he's coming in. He's got a full spreadsheet of this. You guys can watch the interview yourself. I have it linked in the description below, so you guys can have quick access to that, and maybe even a link on this side. Sorry, I keep pointing to this side. It's actually on this side. A link directly to the video, because I want you to listen to it. I want you to listen to the video and know what it is that Brian said. I don't remember the time code specifically, but I will have it listed on the link itself as well as in the description, so you know exactly where to skip to if you only want to watch, the portion about the shipping. But I encourage you to watch the entire video because they talk a lot about, the upcoming, the new and upcoming lines for the Thundercats. A little bits of hints in here and there for San Diego Comic-Con exclusives, and a lot of great things that Egmont is very good at. He's very good at obtaining information, that wonderful information from Brian, and I really do appreciate Egmont's efforts in this interview. And again, guys, definitely head over to We Want More Thundercats on YouTube as well as on Instagram and all the social medias. He's a great creator, and he really deserves more attention than what he's been able to get. Guys, please head over there, give him a like and a follow, tell him that Jay sent you. In closing, to Brian's credit, he hasn't overreacted, unlike another company who, I'm just going to go ahead and say it, that they had a problem with their shipping, and they're actually putting it on the consumer to make it right, and not on them to make it right. You guys know who I'm talking about, NECA. That's a discussion for another time. We're going to get to that in another video. But for now, Brian is right. Everything that you see on social media, on these photos that are being displayed, and the discussions that are happening, and I'm part of that. I was there, and I've been talking about how, it needs to get better. Like, why did we have to go backwards? Everything I've been saying, and I don't take that back, actually. I really don't. I think that a second box would have helped out in the long run. But I do have to, talk about what the situation is. Everything that we see on social media, everything we see on photos and the discussions, of course, they're going to be, sensationalized. They're to a certain degree. They're all truthful. There's no one saying that they're not truthful. Obviously, the photos are there. But at the same time, as Brian has noted, according to his notes, according to his records, it's really only about 3, maybe 4%, maybe 5% of the product. I think that's the really high, in terms of where it is. Out of 95% of it has actually shipped either properly, or the people who have received them don't really care if it's actually damaged. And the product itself has not been damaged. So when you really put that into the overall scheme of things, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good ratio. 3% to 5%, that's not bad. When you're getting upwards of 6 to 8%, that's where things kind of go, yeah, something else needs to be done. Do I think that Super 7 has done everything in their power to make this as safe and as easy as possible to ship out and get to collectors' hands, as intact as possible? If I'm really pressed for an answer, the answer is going to be no. But am I saying that they're doing the worst job possible to try and get this to us? The answer is also going to be no, it's not the worst job ever. It's actually not that bad. Do I really think that a second box would probably have made a big difference? Yes. I think that 100%. Can I live with a dent in the box, maybe even a hole in the box, but a 12-inch hole and half the box ripped open? Would that really upset? Yes. That would absolutely mortify me, and I would not be a happy camper. And I would pretty much expect at that point that I need a new box. And to some degree, some people want even, like damaged corners, things like. I would love a pristine box. I really would. Do I think it's reasonable to ask for a pristine box? I don't think it's unreasonable to ask for a pristine box, but at the same time, I don't think it's really realistic to ask for a pristine box. I'm going to be the first one to tell you that. I am a graphic designer. I've been in logistics. I know just how difficult this could be to actually get something like that across any distance. So do I think it's realistic that that's actually going to happen? Probably not. Am I going to hold Brian Flynn to his word and say, hey, you have to give us that box you promised us? I'm going to have to say no. And I know that's not what a lot of people want to hear, particularly my good friend JP. I know that's definitely not what he wants to hear. But am I going to be realistic about this? And, again, knowing what I know about the printing industry, knowing what I know about packaging design, and knowing what I know about, logistics and getting things out the door and trying to get it to some people's houses intact, do I think it's realistic that it's actually going to happen with a folded box and showing up undamaged? No. It's very little chance. Very little chance. Could I see Brian offering fans the chance to grab a box while he's at a convention, as long as they have the proof of purchase or email that, they have a Cat's Lair? Maybe. And maybe that really is the closest thing we can expect. That if you are at a convention and Super 7 happens to be there, they will generously bring boxes with them, and anybody who wants a box that can prove that they bought a Cat's Lair will actually get a box if it's been damaged. I think what's reasonable for a company like Super 7 to do. Can I see Brian Flynn or the Super 7 team trying to ship out boxes to anybody who has a damaged box? I'll be honest with you, I think the answer is no. The chances of damage to the box while it's folded up are even higher than if it's a fully assembled box. So to me, it just doesn't seem realistic at all. Am I disappointed in that? Yes, but I have to be realistic about this. I have to be absolutely realistic about this. But at the end of the day, we as fans also have to understand that sometimes when you went to go buy a toy at Walmart, Woolco, Sears, or any other places, you probably would find a number of them damaged. And in some cases, it was the only one there, so you bought it anyway. But sometimes, if you were savvy enough, or your mom was savvy enough, you would go to the cashier, show them the damage, and they would compensate you in some way. And in most cases, I think that a gesture like that would renew the faith in this type of collectible being taken care of. And I think that, for the most part, would be acceptable to most fans. But I totally understand my good friend JP. He's probably going to really want that box. And honestly, I'm not going to lie. I would want him a pristine box too. But being realistic, I think we have to take the good along with the bad and just be grateful that a grail like the Cat's Lair was even made. Am I growing up? I think that's really what am I actually growing up? I think it really is. I think it's just that time where you just have to, adulting is hard, man. Adulting is hard, and you just have to sort of deal with the fact that, sometimes you can't have everything. It's just the way it is. And sometimes just having it in your possession and just wanting it and hoping for it, and the fact that it is pretty much well intact and has gotten to your door for the most part, with a few blemishes here, maybe a few cracks or something like that, maybe it's okay. But of course, if the base is completely cracked, if the mountainside is falling off, if the guns have been damaged in some way, if you're missing accessories, of course, you deserve all that. And according to Brian Flynn, he's going to make it right. The Super 7 team is going to make it right. And for me, I think that's more than enough. Guys, let me know in the comment section below what your thoughts are on the interview of We Want More Thundercats, Eamon and Brian Flynn. Are you satisfied with the explanations that Brian brought up in his interview? Are you interested in watching the entire interview on We Want More Thundercats, which I'll have linked in the description below? You can definitely check that out. Give We Want More Thundercats a like and a follow. Tell them that Jay sent you. Or is this still not enough for you? And you still want a pristine box? You want every single one of your accessories repaired, replaced, or even, to something even of a higher degree. And you want to find out more about what happened and why we have to go through this. Leave those comments in the comment section below, guys. I'm not going to ask you to like this episode, guys, because honestly, it is a incredibly polarizing situation. But in conclusion, I just have to say that I think that Brian Flynn and the team over Super 7 have done everything that they can. I'm still disappointed. I'm not going to hide that fact. I'm not going to shy away from that fact. I am disappointed that there is not another shipping box on top of what is already there. But we have seen some efforts by Super 7 to at least mitigate, the second round of shipping. It's been noted in many photos and many reports that corner protectors have been added to the cat's lair, at least on the inner box. So at least they're trying. At least things are, they're trying to do better by the fans. So what happens afterwards? We have to wait and see. If you have received any damaged shipping, Brian has been very vocal about the fact that you have to just reach out to customer service and they will get it taken care of eventually. But as he did mention in the interview, as well as on every particular email that's been put out, they still have to ship everything first, get all the packages out as fast as possible before they can start dealing with the issues that have been arising. So be patient, and hopefully your line in the queue will get answered as quickly as possible. Guys, I hope you, I'm not going to say you enjoyed this episode, but I hope that this episode was at least informative, and hopefully you got something out of it. And again, please let me know in the comment section below what your thoughts are about this whole situation. I really would like to hear it from it. I hope you're all doing well, staying safe. And as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. Thundercats ho, everybody. Happy 40th anniversary. Good journey. Geek proud.